Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and our show today is The Art of Creating Mental Health Wealth. Debbie Nichols is not with us today. She had to reschedule, but JENETTA Barry, the star of our show, has an incredible lineup of things that we're going to be discussing today. Let's welcome her today and find out what's going on with the Epiphany process and World Jenny's Day. Hello.
Hello, Dr. Jacalyn. Hello, viewers, listeners. As always, I love stepping onto this platform, and this is such a vital show for so many that it's really heartwarming when we can step up and talk about things that will shift conversations around mental health wellness.
Absolutely, JENETTA, and I really applaud you for the work that you're doing. Just this week alone, we had a show where one of our team members was sharing about depression and anxiety and possibly considering checking into a treatment facility. We had someone else crying about what's going on in their life. I mean, people are coming forward and sharing how they feel on this platform. And I have to thank you for that, for bringing this show to life and giving people a place where they feel safe. Tell us a little bit about the Epiphany process and what it means for people who are not familiar with it.
Yeah, Epiphany process was really a labor of from my greatest life test. When I lost my 16-year-old daughter, Jenny, to suicide after she and I argued. And although I had been doing studying many other modalities for years, I always found her missing. So after she died, and when I was at my lowest, I planned my suicide 3 times. I knew I had to find something foolproof that was scientifically based rather than theoretical and hit and miss and try and so on. And so I did, and I started applying it to myself, walked that walk, and found that I began to really encompass a bigger picture to what had happened, and then was able to start helping many people across the world, from kids, teenagers that weren't getting out of bed and were self-harming and writing suicide notes and not eating or washing, who are now living full lives, qualified and focused and clear about where their future's going for them. And in fact, one's even got a legacy starting, which is really quite something. And terrorist attack victims and people with PTSD from any type of accident. I helped somebody who had to deal with their best friend in a helicopter crash and all the carnage that came with that. And within 10 sessions, he was back focused and clear again, and it was his best friend. So it's an amazing process.
JENETTA, I just applaud you again for everything that you're doing and for sharing your story. I remember the first time I heard it, and it gave me chills, and it still does in a way, because you had that argument. And I know, because we've discussed it, but for people who haven't heard it before, and then we'll get on to your presentation, how did you get to be at peace with the fact that there was an argument and then this happened?
Yeah, gee, after a lot of no peace, I mean, I was broken. And one of the things with losing a loved one that way, but actually, the more I've dealt with grief, losing a loved one or somebody very close to you, is that there's a certain form of guilt that part of you is quite relieved that it's happened. And as a mother, that's difficult enough. As a mother that's lost a child because we'd argued, it was even more difficult. And the guilt for me, one of them was how, how I don't have to deal with this anymore. It's no longer, because it was Jenny's fourth attempt, it's no longer my problem. And she can't hurt herself. That was one of my biggest things, was what if she really severely hurts herself? And the thought of her having to go through that hurt, and for all of us as a family having to deal with somebody that might be severely impaired in whatever way. And I had to work through that. But once I worked through all the things like, so many people say no mother should bury or no parent should bury their child. And once I'd worked through all of this with the process and my heart opened, I was able to step back and look at the bigger picture of what had happened. So that's not saying I was going around like Pollyanna and going, everything is fine and all right. That's not it. What it was being able to say that loss is still there, and it's there with me for the rest of my life. And it's especially difficult when all her friends got married and now got children, when my kids got married, birthdays, it's there. It's not like I go around pretending it doesn't happen. But I have this very special heart-opening way of dealing with it when it does happen. And generally, most of the time, seeing the bigger picture and the bigger gift in what happened there. And for some people, they find that very difficult, but it really is genuine. I wake up every morning and go, wow, this is amazing.
That's incredible, JENETTA. And obviously, what you've been through has given you an expert level ability to help other people who are going through extremely traumatic situations. So my final question in reference to that before we go on to your presentation is, when you're working with so many people who are just going through things that most people can't even comprehend unless they've gone through it, what toll, if any, does that take on you, and how do you process that so you can continue on with your life?
Most of the time it actually inspires me. The toll is when I take on too many consultations, because I call it mental, emotional, and gym. So I have to coach the person through and push them through, to, because the time of most resistance, where they're going, no, 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 is the time they're just about to have a breakthrough. So that I find quite taxing in terms of expending energy. But in terms of dealing with people, the process helps people to shift, to see the same bigger picture I can now see, and their hearts open, and they go into this place of grace and acceptance and unconditional love for the very thing that was pulling them down to the point that they didn't know how to exist. It's the most wonderful transformation to watch. And that's why it's called the epiphany process. I had one client must have been about 10 years ago, who said to me, just had an epiphany. And I went, that's what it needs to, more than 10 years ago, that's what it needs to be called. It really, people have epiphanies. And in science, an epiphany moment is when you have a photon happen. Photons actually shift. You have what I call also a photon moment, or in Greek it's known as phos, P-H-O-S. And phos in Greek means light. So what happens is you lighten up, and and then you become enlightened. So now, even though I'm talking science, I'm sounding like I'm talking from the Tao, and the two are very closely associated, just different languages, showing the same thing in terms of light and love. So scientifically, it's a photon that's created in your body, and my clients can actually say, oh, I mean, I had somebody the other day say a big toe. I went, okay, it's your big toe that's feeling lighter, but it can be your heart, your head, your stomach, arms. A lot of people go, oh, my shoulders, because that means that's where they were putting all the angst. They were shouldering it, and a lot of weight on their shoulders. Or if it's on their chest, they've got a lot off their chest. If their head feels lighter, it means they've been very cerebral in trying to deal, overly cerebral in trying to deal with that. So and they sit there going, oh, I feel so much lighter. It's amazing, and everything feels lighter. My body feels lighter, and the room feels lighter. Everything is lighter.
And this process is not just for people who are in terrorist attacks or in plane crashes. This can apply to anyone and everyone, correct?
Yes, I mean, I've helped couples to really start communicating with each other very clearly and from the heart, so that by the end they know for certain that they do want to go forward, or they know for certain it really is the end of their marriage. And either way, they can start communicating in very clear, specific, and certain ways that doesn't come from feeling fearful or extremely judgmental. It really comes from the heart, where you speak your truth and feel safe to, and then the partner feels safe to respond. So when I have both partners there, it's unbelievable. But even with one of the partners, it's mind-blowing to watch things change as they start new conversations with their loved ones.
There you have it, folks. Everybody can reach out to JENETTA. She's here to help you. You can connect with her on LinkedIn. We want to say hello to your network on LinkedIn and also Facebook, and hello to GAFA. Thanks for watching and posting. So JENETTA, you have two websites, theepiphanyprocess.com and worldjenniesday.com. What are we going to be talking about today in reference to either of those sites?
Today we're talking about World Jenny's Day, and World Jenny's Day came about because not long after Jenny died, and by the way, Jenny's life and death is filled with these synchronicities. Some people will say coincidences, but I don't believe in that. But we found out that she had actually died on the 10th of October, which is World Mental Health Day. And we knew that something meaningful would come about from that. And during lockdown in 2020, we launched the first World Jenny's Day 2020. It was 5 hours online on Zoom. It was a phenomenal success, and then it morphed the next year, where we had two platforms. We had 24 hours on the audio app Clubhouse, and we had another 7 hours this time on Zoom with incredible content. And again, everybody went, wow. And then this last year, we were able to team up with you, Dr. Jacalyn, and USA Global TV, and we went 16 hours online around the world with performing artists and artists. And the reason why we do that is that actually the day has become a closing ceremony of a whole year of happenings that help people to feel inspired and uplifted. As much as possible, we try and make our fundraisers something that some people can participate in as they're raising funds, and that helps them with their mental and emotional balancing. And that's what we're going to talk about today, because for the second year now, we're very proud to present the World Jenny's Day Safari Cycle Ride across Kenya. We held it very successfully also last year. This year, it's the same ride with some special additions as well. and I'm going to talk about those at the end. But I would love Dr. Jacalyn to present now the ins and outs of that safari cycle ride, because anybody who'd care to join us, you will be helping our cause, and you'll be helping your ability to have either time out or get some peace of mind as you cycle across 2 game parks, past wild animals, stay in really beautiful lodges and camps over 6 days. It is a phenomenal experience. And if you want to really feel at peace and one with nature, this is the one. So, Dr. Jacalyn, I'd like, yes, thank you. Here's the start of it. And we're starting from Kilimanjaro. There's Kilimanjaro in the background. And that man there is a man I've known for many years. His name is Chris Angel, and his wife, Janine, and I went to school together here in Kenya. We go way back. I mean, I really mean way back. And he and Janine are very experienced guides. They've been running these cycle safaris, not only in Kenya, but across Africa. They finished one right through Botswana last year as well. And they've done United Arab Emirates. He knows his animals. He knows what's safe. He knows what isn't safe, and when to say, okay, stop, go. Last year we had one girl, quite a story actually for another time. She kept on shooting on ahead because she was loving it so much, and kept on having to reel her in and say, an elephant sees you on your own and it will cross the road and think you're game. So, you know, bringing people back. So there's backup vehicles, support vehicles, and all sorts of safekeeping guidelines. There's Janine, who went to school with me, and her sister went to school with me too. And there's Mount Kilimanjaro in the background as they're having cocktails. And as you can see, that's where there's all their accolades. And then this is last year, and I wasn't going to cycle, and I just thought, no, I just have to. And that's our special butterfly trophy I'm holding there. And the girl to my left, on the right of the photograph, she was the one. She'd come out all the way from Canada to do this, and she was really scared of life. And she'll tell you now, this cycle ride made her fearless. That's why we were having to reel her back and say, no, come back, don't go too far. And she lost all the day-to-day fears she was dealing with in dealing with life. Very, very special story. And so here's the itinerary for day one. We're all meeting, we're all getting on a train from Nairobi down to Savo, to a place called Voi. And we're being met by Chris in safari vehicles, and he's taking us to our first stay, which is Zawani Lodge, right on the base of Kilimanjaro. And those are Maasai women, by the way, standing there.
JENETTA, it's I imagine it's rain or shine.
Yes, okay. Rain or shine. That time of year, not too much rain, and it's fairly dry and dusty. This was taken in the rainy season, which we've just come out of. So Savo is looking like that at the moment. And we're having lunch at Zawani, and there's hippo in that water there, and croc in actual fact. And to the right there is where we have lunch. That's the dining room there. And then we will settle into our ensuite tents. And by the way, that plant there is prehistoric. It looks like a cactus. It's known as a euphorbia, or the candelabra tree, and it's as old as time. It was around when all the prehistoric animals were around. And to the left of that is a yellow fever tree, which is another story for another time as well.
JENETTA, I just was wondering about the tents. Can you share a little bit about what that experience is like, being in the tent?
Oh, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing, because the tent's been set up on concrete slab. So your walls are all canvas, and then they put this makuti roof. Makuti is palm tree. So that thatching is palm tree thatching. And at the back of the tent on the slab is a whole ensuite bathroom. So you can shower, you've got your loo there, you've got everything there. And it's self-contained. And of course it's got its own little desk, and it's usually kitted out to look very safari, and it's amazing. So, and in actual fact, this camp is owned by the ex-president of Kenya, and the last time I was there, he was visiting, so it was interesting to chat to him.
It looks
So,
amazing.
yeah, it is amazing. Then once we've had settled into our set tents, we go on a game drive in the late afternoon, and followed by a little bit of a warm up on our bikes to check that the bikes are okay and working. And then we will stop and have sundowners, a drink somewhere in, you see now this was last year. Can you see how dry it is? There's no greenery there, because we have rainy seasons and dry seasons in East Africa. This is the dry season.
How long is the evening warm up, and how far are you riding, and how much time does that take?
Not far. It's like 15, 20 minutes, half an hour to check your bike's behaving, that you're comfortable. Chris assesses how well you ride your bike or don't, and it doesn't matter whether you do or don't, because you decide how much you're on your bike or not on your bike throughout the whole thing, and so on. So it's really an assessment for him and you to feel like you can settle down on your seat and be ready for the next day. And as you can see to the right, there is one of the backup vehicles that's there to support. And there, of course, the more people who enter, the more backup vehicles there are. And then dinner at Zawani Lodge. Those are Maasai warriors doing their Maasai jumps. They jump about 6 feet up the air, in the air. They're amazing. So that's in there. And then the next day, day 2, we depart after breakfast. That's me looking very determined last year at the front there.
Look at you in the front there. You go, girl.
And we depart after breakfast for World War I battlefields, because in World War I times, Tanzania was a protectorate from the Germans. The Germans made it a protectorate, and Kenya was British. So they were at war with each other, and this is very close to the Tanzanian border, because Kilimanjaro is in Tanzania. And by the way, it used to be in Kenya until Queen Victoria gifted it to Kaiser Wilhelm, her nephew, and they changed the border post, by the way, another piece of information. But that sniper tree, that's a baobab tree, Dr. Jacalyn, without its leaves. And it's hollow. This one is hollow inside. And in a nutshell, because we've got so much to show in this, in a nutshell, a German woman from Tanzania crossed over absolutely livid because the British soldiers had shot dead her German soldier boyfriend, and she lived in there. And every time the British soldiers went by, she sniped at them from the tree, and they couldn't work out who was killing them. And eventually it caught up with her, and they found her, and that was that. But that's us by the tree with one of the backup vehicles. In fact, you can see the bikes on the rack at the back there. We're all waving.
JENETTA, you had sent me some information for our new book for the Lady Ella series. And I read somewhere that tree, that type of tree, is so big that in one case there were 40 people who were actually inside of it.
Yes. Yeah, it can be. I mean, that tree isn't as big as some of them can be. And they can be up to 3,000 years old, those trees.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. And there are many, many in East Africa. And then this is just to show you on our way. Some is tarmac and some is dirt. And we arrive at Taita Hills Lodge for a late lunch, and we're
I have
going
a
to
question,
stay.
sorry,
Yeah,
about the photograph before. So what kind of interaction, if any, is there with the wildlife?
no, you leave them alone. You don't
Do
interact
they
at
come
all.
up to you, or they're
No, 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 no. No, they're very wild. So those zebras are running away. And
okay?
that one standing ground going, what? And would have run away as well. No, they're very wild.
Okay.
And it's very important it's kept like that. And in fact, not long after that photo, we cycled past a cheetah, not right next to the road, but in the far distance. And there was a cheetah under a tree looking at us going, ah, you're interesting. But it's so used to so much traffic on that tar road that it didn't even bother about us. And as I say, he is unbelievably disciplined, in command, knows when to say what, and at the same time allow you to really enjoy your ride because you feel safe with him. So this is Taita Hills Lodge, and in that lodge, in actual fact, there's a whole display of First and Second World War memorabilia and what happened in the battlefields around there in the middle of Africa between the Germans and the British. And then in the evening, you're going to go for a game drive and sundowners. Last year at Taita Hills, we saw just about every bit of game we wanted to in that evening. It was amazing. And that picture on the left was taken with the sun going down, was taken last year. Then the next day, we went on further into a place called Taita Hills. And there are a couple of sisal plantations owned mostly by Greek people, Greek families, very well known here in Kenya. And sisal is what is used to make baskets and rope. Rope is made from sisal. And you can imagine the market fell out sideways when nylon ropes came out. But now everybody's going back to the proper stuff and getting away from plastic. So it's back. This is Hildana Lodge, where we stayed. It's absolutely amazing, and it's part of that sisal plantation. And look at it inside. In fact, one of my clients did the interior. Very, very talented.
Beautiful.
Mandy Parkinson. Sundowners in the afternoon, there's a big rock where that's the picture from the rock, and you overlook the whole area. It's quite something. Then the next day we go off to after breakfast to cycle to Mount Kasigo, which is that mountain there. And I've put here, ride gently downhill. It's mostly a downhill ride. And again, just for those of you who are going, oh, this is a lot of riding. If you, like me, I didn't ride that much. Those 4 started and completed. But I went on the bike when I wanted to, and when I got off, it got put on the rack, and I went with the backup vehicles. You decide, however more or less. That's up the first rock. You can see the mountain behind. We even had Miguel with us, Migs. He was going to ride. He's a friend of Karen Dark's. He was going to ride, and his off-road bike broke the week before he was due to join us. So he rode in the backup vehicles, but we carried him up that hill. Well, not we, I'd have died, but all the staff the backup staff carried him up the hill for that photo. And then this is the crossing. That's the main Nairobi-Mombasa road. In fact, it's the Mombasa to Uganda road, right up to Lake Victoria. And it divides Savo West from Savo East. So here we are moving over from Savo West into Savo East. And the wildlife do cross that road with heavy, well, not heavy, but trucks and everything. And then that night we transfer through to Wildlife Works or Satao Camp, depending. This is Satao where we stayed last year. You can see it's really quite something. When you stay in their tented camps there too, the night watchman, the rule is you don't go out of your tent at night without a night watchman and a torch, because the wild animals are right there. So it's really quite exciting because you know you're being looked after, but you know you're really at one with nature. Quite something.
Not a
And
dull
here
moment.
we are. Yeah. And here we are again, cycling Savo East Open Plains area. And there's, you can see the backup crew. In fact, there's Miggs, who was following us all. And then that night we got to Galana River for sundowners, and all those crocodiles have names, and we were feeding them. It was quite something to watch. They saw us arrive. They're used to it, so they came out of the water. They were there going, okay, where's the food? Where's the food?
What do you feed them?
Meat. We actually had a few rotten leftovers from food packs from lunch, so they became their dinner. Yeah, from lunch the previous day and that sort of thing. And they kept them in the fridges, saying, "Okay, this is for the crocodiles and crocodile feeding." And then overnight, that's the river with the elephants crossing. Again, tented camp. Really beautiful. And then the next day, by the way, that's a Sakoki cat from the Sakoki forest. So it's a wild cat. It looks like a domestic, but their pelts look, or their whole thing looks like a tortoise. Actually, it's amazing. Really beautiful cats. And here's the Sakoki forest, natural forest. Here's us with one of our road lunches. And in fact, this is a Froome. This is Chris Froome's nephew standing there, because Chris and Janine's daughter is married to Chris Froome's brother, Jeremy. So for those of you who don't know Chris Froome, he was Tour de France winner 2-3 times for Britain. And he actually went to school with my son, Neil. They were in the same class together and used to cycle together. So that's a piece of trivia. Then we get to the village of Watamu. That's us. That's a Maasai man there. And we go through to Watamu Beach. It'll either be Ocean Sports or Turtle Bay. Settle into our rooms. Gathering for drinks and dinner by the sea. The sea is white talcum powder beach. It's beautiful and warm. There it is. You can see it on the left there. That's Watamu Beach. Look at that. Just so beautiful.
Stunning.
There it is again. Very special. Or stay and enjoy a break at the Indian Ocean. So once you finish this, you can stay on. That's us at the end of the cycle ride at Watamu. And then I just thought I'd quickly run through this. Here it's telling you as a non-rider, you don't need to ride at all if you don't want to. If Andy is able to join us, he's definitely not going to be able to ride because of his leukemia sufferings. But for those who want to take it seriously, there are medals and trophy. That trophy on the right is for the person that raises the most funds for this cycle ride, and it's handmade by a Kenyan artist, an incredible talent. He made it all. It's enormous, by the way. It's as big as my laptop, and it's just very special. It's a floating trophy, and your name would go on it. But you can get bronze, silver, and gold medals for your different distances, and here are all the different ways you can distances to get it. With silver and bronze. And by the way, if you're wondering, how can I get this? You can get this itinerary on our website, at the World Jenny's Day website. And there's the prestigious World Jenny's Day floating trophy. Examples of how to raise funds. In fact, I'm helping Kim Chown, who I'm just about to present to you. she is really determined to get that. So she's asked me for some guidelines, and then she's been out making up her own guidelines as well to fundraise. Then you decide distances you might want to cycle. If you are going to cycle, they're all there. And here's the daily itinerary. You wake at dawn, breakfast at 6:30, depart each camp and lodge by 7. You get refreshments mid-morning at the 30-kilometer stop, and some of the backup vehicles go on ahead to set up those refreshments. And there are water stops every 10 kilometers, and you reach your destination lodge camp daily around lunchtime, so it's not all day, and then an afternoon rest at your leisure. And then what the price includes, and it's just about everything. I mean, you 6 lodges and 5 lodges, camps, and a hotel for full board, and these backup vehicles and Chris and so on. It's all there for you. So yeah, it includes a lot. 6 days cycling, experience guide, refreshment stops, bicycle provided, 6 nights cycling inside National Park, and that for 6 nights safari and cycling and all that it comes with, full board, is £2,550, which is incredible. And 500 of that goes to World Jenny's Day. And then there tells you what the extras are, and also you can sign up right there and then to participate. It's all on the website. All of this is on the website. Yeah, so that gives you an idea of that. But one of the things I wanted to quickly tell you about is that Kim Chown, her member of parliament for the area she lives in is British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. And a few weeks ago, she went through, she wrote to him and said, look, this is her cause. She's got another story. We must have her on here. Her cause, and she's channeling her cause through to World Jenny's Day, because her cause severely mental health challenged her. And she is 100% behind World Jenny's Day. So she eventually, he couldn't see her, but he offered her a minister of justice to talk to. And then he sent her a personal letter saying, I am 100% behind World Jenny's Day and what you're doing and this bicycle ride. And we then found out that he actually has Kenya connections. His parents and grandparents were born and grew up here in Kenya. And so it's very close to his heart. And then the other person is Karen Dark, who is a World Jenny's Day ambassador, and she's joining us for that cycle ride, and will be an integral part of chatting with people, and anybody who's feeling like, oh, they can't carry on with the cycling and they wanted to, she'll be able to give endurance tips. And then she and her physically diversified team after this cycle ride are traveling to the Tanzanian side of Kilimanjaro, and she is cycling. She's a paraplegic cyclist, British gold Paralympian, and she is cycling up Mount Kilimanjaro, and we're going to have a film crew filming the lot, and it's going to be flighted in January next year in London, Manchester, and Edinburgh to raise even more funds for World Jenny's Day. And this is Kim, who organized Rishi Sunak, and Rishi was so impressed with what we're doing that he's offered a prize that we're busy chatting with him and his staff about what that prize will be that we can use for fundraising, either raffling or auctioning. So how's that for an amazing scoop? And then I just want to take this and show you finally what Karen Dark had to say. If I can find it here. Here it is. So if you could share it, Dr. Jacalyn, that would be great. Here we go.
Hello, I'm Karen Dart. I'm an ex-Paralympic hand cyclist and a coach, a mindset coach, and my passion is helping people find their inner goals. So there's some alignment with what I do with what World Jenny's Day does, and that is supporting people to change and shift their perspectives so that their mindset can be as positive as possible for the challenges that life brings along. I'm really excited this year to be joining World Jenny's Day in Kenya for Bicycle Safari, raising awareness of the great work that the charity does through the arts to enable mental health. And I really hope that you might consider joining and sharing in a very special experience for a very, very good cause.
Wow,
So
what an excellent presentation that you put together, Janetta. I just wanted to tell you that the detail work and the slides, everything's very engaging and obviously supportive of an event that is so important. And from what I'm taking away from it, this is for anyone and everyone. You don't have to be an expert cyclist. You don't even have to like to ride bikes. You can go along and just enjoy the experience, get to know other people, bond with nature, and support the great work that you're doing. And if you do like to cycle, if it is something that resonates with you, all the better. But Karen Dart's going to be there. You're going to be there. And it just seems like it's an incredible way to give back and have a once in a lifetime experience at the same time.
it certainly is. And another thing that's in the making as we talk is we're going to have an app available that will allow you to clock in on how you're feeling throughout the 6 days. It's an app that's available for day to day, so that if you're feeling down and feeling challenged, you can clock into that app. So that app's going to be available, and also various other AR facilities are being worked on right now. I've got meetings next week for that, so that we'll have Karen talking and helping you through. We'll have the app, and we'll also have some other bits and pieces that is all from AR. It could be amazing.
Absolutely amazing. Well, I want to encourage everyone to get involved. Many times people will say, oh, I can't do this. And you can do it. If you set your mind to it, if you really want to do this, you can do it. You'll find the funds and you'll find the time. JENETTA, we are at the end of the show. What do you want to leave people with today?
I just want to say to you, if you are feeling challenged right now, I have to tell you, this week, Monday, I felt really, really challenged. I'm here without my husband. I had to move house without him into this big echoey house, which was quite daunting, with trying to juggle 100 billion things with all my facilities compromised. And it's very easy to go down that rabbit hole. And I went down that rabbit hole, by the way. So I'm not sitting here saying, oh, I'm the most amazing person because I've got through my greatest challenge and you can have a promise of that for your life. It's not about that. It's about understanding that there'll always be times where we're challenged. Always. It's not getting rid of the challenges. It's gaining really powerful skills and techniques to deal with them so you can bring them into manageability, and you become powerful with them instead of them overpowering you.
All right, JENETTA, we have your contact information here, but please share it again for people who can't read the banner. Also, they can connect with you on LinkedIn.
Oh, I'd love to have you connect with me wherever feels best. The epiphany process, if you'd like a piece of that and so on, you can get hold of me at JENETTA, JENETTA, at the epiphany process, or one word, .com. If you want to, and if you'd like to, by the way, I'm very happy to have an initial chat with you. A lot of people come and chat, and we see whether there's a fit there. If there isn't, there isn't. And if there is, there is. And that's the most wonderful thing about it. World Jenny's Day is World, WORLDJENNYSDAY.com. And you can get hold of me at that email address again, JENETTA@theepiphanyprocess.com, if you want to contact about World Jenny's Day. But the whole site is there, and it's really quite a magnificent site, even if I say so. It's got absolutely everything in there. So if you'd like to know more about this, we would love you to join us on this cycle ride. If you just want to come on safari, join us on safari, and with a team of people, so that you're not doing it on your own. Join us, come.
All right, you've got an invitation from JENETTA, so please do take her up on it. JENETTA, thank you for the time and the energy and the preparation that you put into this presentation. I need some tips from you.
With pleasure, anytime. And I look forward to being on future shows. I mean, we've got our special book you were talking about coming out later this year on Africa for children, on listening, wonderful incentive. Got Women of Africa show coming soon. And it's just such a wonderful platform. So anybody who's new today, either listening or watching, I really encourage you to have a look at the diversity of choice that you have on this platform. Whatever subject, you'll find it here. And it's informative, heart-opening, safe. Really, it's got a family feeling. So stay with us.
Thanks so much, JENETTA. Don't forget your favorite show, Global Adventures.
Yes, my global adventures. Lily left it out. Yes, anybody who has had an experience that, you know, is one of those memorable experiences, like we had Andy, my husband, in Lapland a little while ago, and then my friend Moira in Antarctica and Ethiopia. If you've had an experience that isn't your normal touristy thing, please contact me, because we'd love to share it. We put it into a presentation that brings it to life, that people feel they're doing the journey with you. And it's just such a uplifting program in terms of the possibilities of what you can do around the world. Please contact me. I'd love to have you on my show.
Outstanding. Thank you so much, JENETTA. Thanks to everyone who is watching or listening on the live or the replay. And we want to welcome our new destination that we've added, which is Twitch. We were on Twitch and then we stopped about a year and a half ago. So welcome to all of the Twitch viewers. Our next show is coming up. It is the United Kingdom News and Culture. So join us for that. Bye for now, everyone. Take care. Bye.